Okay, it's not me singing. Okay, hey, it's Christmas time, and it's getting to be cold weather-ish. It's starting to be cold weather, so more cold weather food. I've been busy today. I think I've told you many times that if you have time, make multiple meals at once. So today I got chili being made, and I made taco meat for tacos later. And tonight we're gonna make cheesy ham potato soup. So we've got potatoes, we got ham, we have celery and carrots and onion. I have some flour and milk and cheese and all that kind of stuff, but we'll go through that as we go. So anyway, we will start out. I'm actually melting about a little over 5 tablespoons of butter in that, and we'll get to that in a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to put in 3 1/4 cups of chicken broth now into this big pot. Now, one of these is 4 cups. So why would I have 2 of these out, you ask? Well, because I already had this one open for another one. So instead of just almost using that up and then still having this one, I'm gonna use up this one first. So 3 1/4 cups. We go. Well, there's old Bing singing. Isn't that just wonderful Christmas music? There's 2. And that's about almost a little over 1/4 cup. So there's 2 1/4. So I just need 1 more cup out of the new container here. One more cup for this. All right, and then we're putting in, I put 2 big, good-sized baked potatoes, cubed them up here. So those all go in. And about 1/3 of a cup of carrots. And about 1/3 of a cup of celery. And about 1/3 of a cup of minced up onion. And, ooh, White Christmas. It's one of the best songs ever, isn't it? I'm putting in about 2 cups of ham. It's actually more than that. We had ham left over for Thanksgiving. Yes, we used ham for Thanksgiving. We eat turkey all the time. Ground turkey and turkey sandwiches and everything. So for us, since there was only the 2 of us for Christmas or for Thanksgiving, it's kind of more of a special deal and everything to have ham. So we went out and got some honey baked ham, promo for honey baked ham, and had that for Thanksgiving. So I'm just using that up in the soup here. We mix it all together. And we may need to end up putting a little more chicken broth in there. But for now, I'm going to cover that up. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit so that we're going to bring that to a boil. And then we're going to let it simmer and make the potatoes all tender and stuff. In the meantime, I've got the butter melted over here now. So I want to put 1/3 of a cup of flour, and when you're mixing flour into the butter, you want to mix it slowly and kind of keep whisking it in. You don't want to do a whole bunch at once because then it gets lumpy. So you see, I'm just going to kind of get some in, whisk it in. Whisking, keep adding Christmas. Okay. Gotta turn up to the heat just a little bit. Okay, it's already pretty good and thick. So on top of this, we're going to add in 2 cups of milk. This is not a low-fat meal, but it's going to be tasty, I'm pretty darn sure. So 2 cups of milk into this. Again, adding in slowly so that the milk doesn't lump up. Matter of fact, I think I need to turn that heat down just a bit there. As I add this in, you see it's getting pretty liquidy, and that's just 1 cup. I gotta add 1 more in. But once the heat's on this thing for 4 or 5 minutes, it's all gonna kind of thicken up again. So 1 cup, 2 cups. It's definitely on the liquid side now, so we're gonna let that, just gonna keep whisking it around, let it get a little bit thicker. And once it gets thick, then we'll start adding in the cheese. Okay, well, you can see that this is now much thicker. It's amazing what that little bit of flour will do, huh? So now we're gonna make it even thicker because we're gonna put in 2 cups of cheese. So here's 1 cup. That melted in. So 8 ounces is 1 cup, and that's 1 package, 8 ounces. Unless you have 16-ounce package, then that's 2 cups. But I thought the 8-ounce packages. So. That is 1 thick cheese. All right, next one in. So while away, I checked on the mixture in the soup pot over there, and it's not even close to being tender potatoes because we're gonna cook it until they're tender, probably 20 minutes or so, especially with the lid on. Hopefully we'll take about that time. So this cheese is gonna be ready before then, so I'm gonna have to kind of work around that. The recipe that I was looking at just said, while that's going, make this. Probably could have waited 10 or 15 minutes before I made this because it took all of 5 minutes, 6 minutes to make this. And we got plenty of time left on those potatoes to get tender. So we'll have to kind of see how we do this. Learn on the fly, folks. That looks like Velveeta, doesn't it? I think that's what well, except Velveeta isn't really cheese. It's some yellow styrofoam or something that they make, but this looks like Velveeta cheese, but it's not, because you saw I put real cheese in, and real milk, and real butter, and real flour. Okay, this is about as melted as it's going to get, and I don't want it to scorch, so I'm going to turn the heat down, and actually may just take it off the heat and turn that off for just a bit. I'll keep stirring it occasionally, and as we get closer to the potatoes being done, then I'll turn it back on and make sure it's good and melted again. But so I'm looking here. It's starting to boil, but that's not nearly enough. We probably want it to boil or to simmer for probably, like I said, probably 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm gonna let that get going. I may even turn the heat up just a little more, just to really get it going. And once that has been done for a little bit and the potatoes are tender, we'll come back, mix it all together, put it into bowls. We have sourdough bread that we're gonna have with this. I didn't make it. We have sourdough bread with our cheesy ham potato soup, and I think it's gonna be really good, so we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so we're back, and this is gone for a little while, probably 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so. And what I'm gonna do now is just use a masher to mash some of the potatoes up so they're not all complete chunks. I'll tell my videographer to be careful because the flame is still on the burner over there that she's above, so I don't want her to catch on fire or anything. So I'm just gonna mash up some of the taters. I've taken the cheesy stuff off the heat for the moment. I'm gonna, once I get these mashed up a little bit, I'm going to put it back on the heat. I'm going to turn the heat back on for the cheese, because it's kind of gotten a little too thick. Look at, so look, check this out. All these ads you see about these, non-stick pans. Oh, everybody else sucks. Ours are best. But look at this Tefal. I like Tefal, and look at all this cheese in here, and it's not sticking at all. So take that, copper bottom and whatever's my Tefal worked better than yours. So okay, it is time, I think, to throw the cheese in. So look at that, slides right out. Huh. That's just amazing. Tefal. So Tefal and what was the other? Oh, honey baked. You guys want to pay me for saying your names? Tefal and honey baked. I'd be okay with that. All right, in that goes. And now with a spatula to mix it all together. It looks pretty cheesy potato-y. Should get all on the bottom and the sides, get it all mixed in there. All right, I'm going to let that sit and heat up together for just a little bit. In the meantime, I've got bread, sourdough bread I showed earlier. I put some butter and some garlic salt, put on there, and that's getting all nice and warm and toasty for us. We're gonna have this. I'm going to chop up a few scallions or green onions so we can put it on the top of the cheese, or on top of the soup, because that, it's presentation. It's all about presentation. So we'll let that sit for a minute or two, and then we'll be back and put it all together for a wonderful meal. So I'll see you in a minute. All right. We are, I think, time to ladle and eat. Okay, so one thing I did add in there, I did a little taste test, because I try to do that as I go along. In the recipe, was about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, which I also added in. I think that helped to do that. As you can see, our bread is out of the oven and ready to go. So now it's time for some cheesy potato ham soup, cheesy ham potato soup, or hammy cheese potato soup or something. There's ham and cheese and potatoes together. One. A two. A three. Takes 3 licks to get the center to real touch pop. Okay, we'll put this in the sink. And then our chopped up green onion on top there, because presentation. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. Good. Oh. Let me try to turn that off. Keep boiling over. Okay, so cheesy ham potato soup with a side of sourdough bread and garlic salt and butter. But fairly simple. Wait until your stuff is almost tender before you start your cheese. They didn't say that in the recipe. I'm going to tell you that. So do that, because otherwise then it's kind of a hassle. But otherwise, pretty easy to make. So let me know if you try it. Okay, we'll see you next time.